Hello and welcome to our second session, and in this session we are actually first going to see how to load a model and make that model appear when an image is tracked. So to do this we are going to start with our application. So just like last time inside this DOM content loaded, the very first thing we are going to do is I am going to create a start function, and that start function is an async function, and open close bracket, no parameters, equal greater than sign, and in open close flower brackets inside this we will have our code. So I have created an async function, and after this entire async function is executed, I am then going to call this function back. Okay, and okay, so I am creating a function here and I am going to call it later, and inside this function I am now going to start with a constructor, and I am going to call this as MindAR 3, and here only T is capital, const MindAR 3, and I want this to be equal to new window. I am going to call MindAR, and in it I will call image period, and M is capital, MindART capital. So M and ART are capital, MindAR 3, and in open close bracket, and inside open close bracket here I am going to call or define two objects, and these two are the predefined objects inside this MindAR 3 function. So those are in open close flower brackets. Now I am going to have to give value of two objects, and the first value is the container colon. What is this container is where my entire application has to be loaded in my HTML file. I want this to be loaded in document body, comma, and the second parameter that I have to add here is image target source src. Here T and S are capital, and this image target source is nothing but the file that we downloaded from the MindAR website. What we did in our previous session, we uploaded our 3 images and we downloaded a mind file and we renamed it as abc.mind. I have placed it in the root of this folder, that is this main.js and abc.mind are in the same folder. So here for this image target src here, I am now going to add two inverted commas, period and forward slash. I am going to type abc.mind. So in relative path, this means that in the same folder go to abc.mind, and I will add the comma, and after this I will conclude this with a semicolon. So this is a constructor, and after I have added the constructor, I am now going to call for another constructor, and in open close bracket, I don't use bracket now, I will use flower bracket because I am going to declare multiple variables. So first is the renderer, comma, scene is the second, third is the camera. So my renderer, scene and camera, all the three I am taking it from my MindAR 3 component, and I will end it with semicolon. So this whatever constant I have declared here, from this I am getting this constant. So my renderer, scene and camera variables or objects are already ready with this one line, and after this we are not going to add camera in 3JS augmented reality application. So instead of camera, what we use is anchor, constant anchor, and this is equal to MindAR 3, and I am going to type add anchor, and in open close bracket I will end it with semicolon, and inside this I am going to now choose which image should be targeted. So, we had loaded 3 images, and for the first image I am going to use 0. So, this means that the very first image, which was A, when A comes into the scene, what should happen? So, when A comes into the scene, I want an aeroplane to appear. So, for this I am now going to first call for a loader, because I have to load an external file, and this is equal to new GLTF loader, and I will end it with open close bracket and semicolon. You can see here this GLTF loader is coming from here, the same name I have typed here. Now, after this is going to load the GLTF, means I have made this loader, I have initiated this loader, then this loader I am going to ask this loader. If you come to your AR flashcards, there is a folder called airplane, and inside that I have scene.gltf. This is the file that I want to be loaded when image 0 is loaded. Load, inside this loader load, I am now going to add the first parameter in inverted comma, okay, inside the inverted comma, period / means in the same folder, go to airplane folder, and I have wanted to load the file scene.gltf. Okay. This is the first parameter, and the second parameter I have to give here is, the second parameter is a callback function, and for this callback function in open close bracket I will give it a parameter called GLTF, and this will be equal to greater than, and in open close flower bracket inside this I am now going to, means this is actually first going to create an empty group. So, this entire GLTF scene, actually this is an empty group, and I am going to call this anchor, which I have declared here, and I am going to create an empty by calling group, and inside this empty I am going to add in open close flower bracket, and I will end it with semicolon, and inside this group I am going to load GLTF.scene. So, the scene is what I am going to get added here. And now after this I have to make this MindAR3 engine to start. So, for that I will add the command await MindAR3 start, okay, and open close bracket, end it with semicolon. So, this MindAR3 will start. Await means it is going to wait till this entire engine is loaded, and once it is loaded, the final step is to render it. I will call this renderer, which we have declared in line number 11, parent, and now I doesn't want it to render just one time. Just like in our previous visiting card application, rendering should happen every frame because the target image is moving. So, I am going to make it render an animation. So, I am going to call this set animation loop function, and in open close flower bracket inside this is a function, this is a callback function. So, inside this I will add one more open close flower bracket, and this is empty, I am not giving any parameter. See, in line number 15 we had given GLTF as the parameter for callback function, but here we are not giving any parameter. It is equal to greater than sign, and with open close flower brackets inside this, now I am going to ask the renderer to render in open close brackets what it has to render scene and camera, and this scene and camera is coming from line number 11. Okay, and this is going to render this, and I am going to end it with semicolon, and I will also end this line here with semicolon. So I have made around 27 lines code here, and in this case, instead of creating any geometry, we have created a loader, GLTF loader, and we have asked it to load a model from my hard disk. Where it should be added? I want it to be added into my anchor group, and this is an empty group which keeps moving and changing its dimension and shape and rotation based on the image. Tracking the image, this group or this empty object keeps changing, and inside the empty object I have this GLTF scene. So with this code type, I will go to file and choose save. Okay, it is now time to test our application. So I have saved my main.js index.html, and I have the server running, and I am also making this ngrok running, and when I click on this link, this is going to open in my browser. It is asking permission to access my webcam. I will click allow, and when I click on allow, the webcam is accessed and the scanning is going on. Now I have the images here. I have taken out the printout. So now I will bring the image over here, and now you can see the aircraft appearing over here. See, the aircraft is appearing, but now the only issue I have is this aircraft that you are seeing is totally dark because we have not added any light. So as of now, I will remove this and I will come back to my code. I will close this. I will come back to my code, and in the code now I am going to add my light. So to add the light, I will come up here, and below this, after I render this renderer scene and camera, next to this, in the next line, I am now going to declare a light. I am going to call this as constant light, and this light will be new 3. The kind of light that I am going to use now is hemisphere light, and this hemisphere light has 3 parameters. Now if you want to understand what is this hemisphere light and what different kinds of lights are available in Three.js, that is, I am going to come to my Three.js website. I will come to Three.js, and in that I am going to type hemisphere light, and you have a link here which explains hemisphere light. You can see an example here. It is saying that this will have 2 colors and 1, and if you see the example how it is going to run, you have a light hemisphere here. If I click on this, this is going to show you an example. See, you have a switch here. I will toggle the direction light. I have removed the direction light now, and I will toggle hemisphere light. When both the lights are off, you are seeing it dark. But when I add hemisphere light, you can see that this is a gradient light starting from the sky to the ground. And there will be 2 values that we have to give. The first value represents the bright color, the second value represents the dark color, and the third value represents the intensity. So understanding this, I will come back to my code, and in this 3 hemisphere light now, I am now going to add the values. So what I am now going to do is, so in this website, see, they have given this default values. I will just copy this default values itself. I will come to my code here, and inside this I am going to paste that value. And now the light has been created. This light is currently actually has not been added to the scene. So what I have to do is, the next thing I have to do is, I have to come down and say scene, add, and in open close bracket I have to add this light, and I am going to end this with semicolon. And now if I save the file, and now I will come back to my browser, I will launch the application, and now once I launch the application, it is scanning, and now if I bring this over here, see, now you can see the aeroplane, you can see it, and as I turn the image, you can see the plane is also changing. I can rotate it and see it from all the angle like this. Okay, so now instead of loading some cube or sphere, we are loading a customized model here. And now only thing is, when I see this model size, it appears to be very big compared to my card size. Okay, so as I bring the card closer, this is going to become closer, and now what I want is, I want this to fit exactly inside the card. So for this, I am now going to scale this down a little bit, and for that I will now come back to my code, and here in the loader load in line number 18, before line number 19, I am now going to actually call this GLTF.scene component, and for it I am going to set its scale. I will use scale set, and in open close bracket end it with semicolon. I have to set the value from how much it should scale. Say for example, I will set it to 0.5 comma 0.5 comma and 0.5, and after this, now if I go over here and if I save it, now if I come back to my code, I will refresh this, and then as the scanning is taking place, I will take my image here, and if I bring it, now you can see that my model is scaled down. In this session, we have successfully tracked one image, and we have made that image, as soon as the image is shown, the model is appearing. Now the issue one we have is, whatever code you are seeing here, this entire code, this code structure, if there is just one image, you can add the code like this. What if you have multiple images? Then every time, instead of writing the code like this, we are going to write our own helper function. This is what we call as refactoring the code. So this refactoring of the code, how we are going to do it and writing this helper function, this we are going to continue in our next third session. Thank you.